I'm Tom, and this is Marquita, and we're destined to explore.
We are, and as a matter of fact, we did a little exploring. We left Queen Valley out of the Superstition Mountains of east of Phoenix, and we headed west. And so in this episode, you're going to see our experience at Quartzsite, which was quite an experience.
It was quite an experience.
And we share our observations.
Yep. We shared the observations, and then we headed out towards Joshua Tree.
Yeah, so you'll see our experience in Joshua Tree. We had some great hikes, and we had a surprise. We'll have a surprise for you in Joshua Tree. So that's what you're going to see in this episode. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. So we are in Quartzsite, Arizona, which is about 20 miles east of the California-Arizona border. And this is one unique place.
It is. It is certainly that.
We were here during a time when they're having an RV show. And I think there's an estimation there was at least 100,000 RVs parked all throughout the desert here. Quartzsite is known for its dispersed camping, BLM, Bureau of Land Management camping, where you can camp for 14 days for free or for a nominal fee if you want to be a place where they have a dump station stuff. Another thing that Quartzsite is really known for, besides its RV space, is that it's like the biggest gem and rock place in the world, where people come and they look at all kinds of, they scavenge rocks and buy rocks and all this kind of stuff. But look at all these quartz and crystal places, and they are everywhere here. This guy over here has his thing going. So if you're into rocks and you're into gravel, this could be the place for you. So this is part of the Schlockfest that is Quartzsite. You can see all this stuff is going on, and these little places have everything you can possibly imagine and then some.
Everything that you
couldn't possibly need ever. And so there's bicycles, chairs, junk. It's like a giant flea market. And I guess this thing goes on all the time. So we are about to go into Bureau of Land Management, what they call the LTVA, Long-Term Visitors Area, where we pay $14 or $40 for 14 days so that we can dump our garbage and dump our tanks here.
And they've got water here too as well.
Yeah, so a little more amenities, but basically we're totally dry camping other than that. This is the entrance where we came in a couple days ago.
And then once you pass this area, basically you're free to park anywhere.
Just not within 15 feet of another camper unless you're all buddies.
So the interesting thing here is you get some people who, I mean, virtually we're barely inside the gates.
Right.
And right on the road, the main road.
There's an interesting little campsite right here.
Yet they've chosen that spot to camp, and I don't know, maybe that person feels safer there, being close to the road and close to the front, as opposed to being farther away. But
and you get all kinds of camping type vehicles. So right here we have a van, which is really common. Then you'll see some tents, some people that are just car camping, but you can see all through here there's campers everywhere.
I like the dispersed camping here. I love that it's so easy to find a spot to park, so there's no concern about showing up here and not being able to get a spot. But as far as a location, I think from my point of view, Quartzsite would be a great place if you just need a spot to stop for a night or two.
Right.
We're here for, I think, about 10 days, which isn't too bad.
Which is about 8 days too long.
Well, but six of those days we're
working.
I'm working, so that chews up a bunch of that time.
For him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot to do in Quartzsite if you're not into rock hunting or rock buying, or if you don't have an ATV. Everybody around seems to have ATVs, which is fine, but even that doesn't appeal when you're basically chasing somebody who's kicking dirt into your face. We said we wanted to do it, and we did it. And here's a little more how dispersed it gets now. You can see there's hardly anybody around now. And it's still pretty easy to get out here, as you can see. But we do not see ourselves coming back here as a destination. And but we definitely, it's super easy to come if you're on your way someplace else, and it's super cheap. I mean, it's ultimately, we chose an LTVA area where you actually pay, but just for the convenience of having a dump station and
a place to dump your trash.
Yeah, but there's other places here that you don't pay anything, and you can park there and just haul everything out and find a dump station in town. But back to Quartzsite, there's the grocery store. Looks more sparse than God sees in Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, looks like something you'd find
in a third world nation. Yeah. So if you really want to get groceries, you got to go to Blythe, which is in California.
20 miles away.
20 miles away.
Or Parker.
Yeah, Parker is north of us by about 30 miles. So, I mean, not a big deal. That's kind of what the camping life is about. But this was, you know, it was something we'd heard a lot about and decided we would have to try it out. So here's where we chose to park. That's us back there in the white Paradigm. And all these other people came and parked after we got here, but it's not that bad. For people who don't have toilets in their rigs, there's pit toilets here, which is another nice thing for people who don't have that kind of access in their rig. So this is our little resting place. We actually have a decent sized little yard here, and there's people in the woods behind us, but it's super quiet. So that's the other thing. It's not bad for free, but that's all we need. So there is Quartzsite for you. Well, we are up in Palm Canyon, just off of, well, it's about 10 miles off the road out of Quartzsite, and it's kind of an interesting canyon. This is the part of the canyon behind me. It's really impressive. This is kind of a panorama, and that's where we came from. I'll show you the parking lot in another thing. Tom is going over to see if he can see the palms. They're palm trees that are up in a canyon. Seems bizarre. So we'll show you those here in a moment, but it's kind of a beautiful day for a hike. So this is Palm Canyon, or you can see way up there, there's a bunch of palm trees just weirdly in the middle of this canyon. Tom is on this side of this precipice climbing up there because, well, you can't call it a good hike if you don't put your life in danger. So that's what he's doing.
So this is the Palm Canyon Trail. I'm going to swing the camera around here and give you a little bit of view to see what I've come up and where I'm going. So we came up on the trail over here, then down across the wash. And now I've been scampering up this. It's pretty steep, not for necessarily the faint of heart. Young people would certainly have no problem, but people that are acting my age, and unlike me, might think about it second thoughts. And then I'll pan up here to where we're going. You can see the crack in the rocks up here. That's where I have to get to next. So onward and upward. All right, I've made it up to the palms finally here. Coming all the way up from the trail down there, and then actually came, I guess between these rocks over here is the place. There's a pretty good trail, lots of handhold, but it is steep and you have to do a little bit of climbing. And then here's the first palm, so we're gonna get a shot of that. But here you can see the palm trees are up here. And my big question in my head is, how did a coconut ever get up here in the first place? That's what I'd like to know. But pretty cool and majestic sight. And pretty cool place to be all by myself.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Where are we?
We're near Palm Springs.
Palm Springs or
Yep.
Desert Hot Springs?
Desert Hot Springs is where we're physically staying.
And guess what?
What's that?
Looky here.
We have visitors.
Looky here. We've got Tana and Neil who are here visiting with us. So,
They're our first overnight visitors on the camper.
and so far we're not ready to boot them out.
No, which we kind of swore against that we were actually going to do that. But
Well, we're going to have to cut this out because we don't want anybody else saying, well, Tana and Neil did.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no.
But you couldn't say no to us.
I couldn't say no to you. So we are off for a hike. And what's the name of the hike, Tana?
Indian Canyon.
Indian Canyons. There's another one too, though, right? A little one. Tuckets? Taquitos?
Taquitos.
Taquitos.
Canyon.
Okay.
We have
Has a
taquitos
lot
in the
of
freezer, by
We
the
do
way.
have taquitos, so we should have brought them along. So we're off to see the wizard and see what kind of terrain and topography and botanical stuff, flora and fauna of this part of the desert. And we'll let you see what we see when we get there.
Yep.
All right. Here we are at Indian Trails West Fork Trail, something like Indian Canyons.
Yeah.
West Fork.
They charge to get in.
A lot.
It costs more if you have kids along.
Yes. We got to remember to stop bringing the kids.
The memories we make will be priceless today.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, whatever you want to tell
she's really
yourself,
good at that,
Tana.
isn't she?
Exactly. Going on a hike. We're doing a hike. We're doing it.
Send it. Send it.
Well, I'm out here in Joshua Tree National Park. I'm by myself. It's about 4:30 in the evening, and I'm coming out to hopefully get some good pictures. But we'll see how that turns out. When I do these little photographic trips like this, that go into the evening when it's dark and there's everything is black outside. For whatever reason, Marquis doesn't really like to come along. I haven't figured that out quite yet why, but she thinks it's boring. But I'm hoping for a good night. The sun is out. There are no clouds in the sky, so I'm not expecting, you know, like a beautiful sunset or anything. I don't know if you can see it up over my shoulder, probably not. But the moon is out tonight. So what I'm hoping for here is maybe to get some really nice shots as the sun goes down. So if you look here, we've got, this is kind of the deal here, is the Joshua trees. And maybe I'll show you those a little closer up in a bit here. But then there's all these beautiful rock formations. So I'm hoping for a couple of things here. I'm hoping to get some nice kind of color and shadow from the sun as it sets. That should light them up really nicely. And then the other thing is when the sun does go down, with the moon up in the sky up there someplace, it should give some interesting lighting for the night. So it's not going to be completely black. There'll be some light out here, and I'm anticipating that we'll be able to get some nice shots with the moonlight. So we'll see how that goes.